Welcome to today's Thursday conversation. And I want to remind you that if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have reactions, please write to me so that this Thursday musings can be really a two-way street where I'm talking, but I would like to respond to you, and so that it becomes a conversation. And if you're joining me for the first time, I would invite you to listen to some of the earlier musings, because you'll have a better sense of where I'm coming from. And if you've been with me a long time, you know that I like to start my inquiries about where I am, or rebalancing myself, or going back to the no self. When I say back to the no self, I'm coming from a knowing that the body is only our container, our vehicle, and that because we're alive, excuse me, we're more than our individual bodies. So our bodies are the vehicle, but all vehicles are in life. And so we ebb and we flow, and we do that in a particular way from our personalities. But our personalities are like the weather. The weather is the big picture, and the rain is the specific embodiment at that moment, or the storm, or the sun. It's not the permanent, bigger picture. So the other thing I would like to remind you, if you're an old timer with me, or if you're new, is that I consider and work with feelings in a particular way. To you, it might seem exaggerated, but in the first episode of Musings, it might be labeled number 2, because number 1 is an intro to Musings. I talk about feelings as being more extreme, so that we can get hold of what's really going on. So if you're talking about yourself that I'm just a little frustrated, or I'm annoyed, in my world, it's on the continuum of anger. It's not rage, I get it. It's smaller than rage. But it's not useful for inner process or release to say I'm frustrated. Same with anxiety, and many of the other words we come up with. Stress. Everybody's stressed. Well, yeah, but let's look deeper. Is there any anger in stress? I don't really want to have this feeling. Okay. Is there any pain in stress? It hurts to be stressed, and so on. So the feelings that I work from are am I willing to be vulnerable with myself and tell the truth? That's kind of a precursor. It's not a feeling, it's more of a state. But if I'm not willing to be vulnerable, don't even bother trying to do an inquiry with feelings. It's just not the moment. If I want to be angry and I don't want to acknowledge anything, just be angry. Go. Don't even try at that moment. So that's where that question is useful. This is just a really quick reminder. So it's vulnerability. Am I willing to be vulnerable? Then joy and pain, anger, fear, perceived mistakes or guilt, imagined unworthiness or shame, and lust or aliveness. And then I list the word presence. And presence is what happens when we're not caught up in this inner loud story, this feelings about what happened and what didn't happen. Presence is availability. We're present to life without the past, without stress about the future. We're just in the moment. And for me, that's the doorway to another kind of home. When we have more and more presence in terms of more and more moments or more and more returns to that place, that's what home is. When we're home, no matter what it looks like. I was once in a hotel room that was like a hovel. It was so dingy. And my friend and I were there a couple of days and we complained. I don't remember what was wrong with it, but it was really horrible. And they finally offered to move us, and it had become home and we weren't willing to move. And so that's a great story to me, that what you return to becomes so familiar, so comfy. That you take your shoes off, or you take your tight belt off, or you take your bra off, or you take your teeth out if you're old, or whatever, you take your tight earrings off, or your high-heeled shoes, or whatever. Men have a tie when they go to work in the workplace of old. So you know what I mean, right? So let's get to the topic of today. What is it? Are you in a self-imposed prison? What is that? If you're in any kind of quandary, this or that, this or that, this or that, I'm calling that a prison. Many of you live in that kind of deliberation. That's home for you. And I get it. It's been security for you to be unsure and consider, and then you don't make a mistake if you haven't made a choice, or at least you put off making a choice to be more sure. I get it. But it is a self-imposed prison. It was the best choice. It was your Enneagram personality chosen as a child. I'm not arguing with that, but that was then. It no longer might be the best choice. If you think that being thin or being fit or being healthy is a better choice, or your go-to because you're fighting being fat or eating the bad foods or eating the unhealthy foods or being unhealthy or being old or looking old or eventually dying, if you're fighting anything and you've got two opposites going, I'm calling that a prison. Can you eat healthy foods? Can you be drawn to a vision? Absolutely. But if you're fighting the opposite, if it's not easy, easy meaning it's only the food you want, you're not attracted to the bad foods, quote unquote. I'm just saying, for everyone that's in a prison of one of the polarities of life, success, failure, enough money, not enough money. I'm saying there's some place, a way to earn your money and not be fighting the opposite. And really, all of my videos and all of my teachings and all of my conversations boil down to stepping away from the fight. Remember my slide that I shared in one of our classes, or if you took the unworthiness quiz and you saw that slide of the hand holding the card that showed a person, it's neither a man or a woman, and there's a tug of war going back. Whatever is on the other side of your tug of war, drop the rope. I know the next question is, yeah, but I'll be a couch potato. I won't take a job. I won't earn money. I won't do my best. Yes, you will, but stick with me. It doesn't have to be a fight. Life might be what's pushing you, and you think your mind is saying, I have to struggle to not eat that other food, or I have to be careful, or I have to this or that. No, that's just the mind. There is a force in life that is pushing you to listen to this, to be successful if that's your route, to be a teacher, to be a grandparent, to be a volunteer, to be a gardener, to be whatever it is you're doing. You think perhaps you're creating your own reality because modern spiritual lives, modern spiritual paths, and a lot of information wants the individual to believe you're in charge. But I ask you, did you create your birth? Some people think they did. They chose to be born to these parents and so on. Maybe you had a say in yay or nay. I don't know. Nobody knows. But I do know there's a force way bigger than us that's in charge of birth or death. You might think that you are in charge of your death or you can forestall it. And you have every right to whatever you think, because your thoughts are what's free. You can have another thought. You can have another thought. Maybe they're not even free. Maybe certain people are supposed to represent the rain, and other people are supposed to represent the snow, and someone else is to represent the sun, and so on, so that we have this action-filled drama that we live in. I don't know. Nobody knows. But I do have an experience that repeats about what happens when we step outside of the voluntary prison. What's the first step? It's in acknowledging that it might be a prison. Whatever your back and forth is. Should I take this new job? Should I quit? Should I quit my old job? Should I go out in business by myself? Should I take this new challenge on? Should I up-level and increase my team? Or should I stay with, whatever your questions are? See if there's a polarity that you're fighting that's underneath this question. Is it worthiness? Am I worthy or unworthy? Can you see that the answer to unworthiness is not worthiness? The answer is to getting outside of the question. When it's no longer a question, how do we do that? That's where the peace is. How do we do that? Well, the first thing is acknowledging those feelings. Anger has happened. I don't say I am angry. You could say I have anger. Why don't I say I am angry? Because I don't want to further that idea that I am a feeling. I'm way, 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 way more than a feeling, because I'm here when the feeling goes, and so are you. So you asked me. So then I acknowledge my feelings. I go through all those 7. Yeah, I'm more present. But so what? I don't feel any different. Yeah, good, you're acknowledging that. You still have an attachment to your issue, to your prison. Now breathe with me. Breathe with me again. You're more than these states of feelings. Something bigger is going on, but it's very, very quiet. It's not where the noise is. It's back behind. Can you possibly allow a space-like place that knows your tug-of-war, that is aware that you have been judging whatever circumstance, this, that, but there is a something that knows or is aware of that, and maybe stepping into that awareness or that presence, not the mind, because the mind will bring you back to noise. Breathe again with me, if you will. Pure presence is life. Life doesn't have a form, and the real you has no form either. Your essence is not your personality. It's not your thoughts. It's not your feelings. When people have had a moment of enlightenment, they usually laugh. Often they laugh because the knowing that the drama that we all play in, if we're part of the world, is not what we are in the big picture. We have a persona that participates in play, whether we say yes or no, whether we judge or we don't judge. None of that affects our purest energy. And we're not our energy. Our energy is us, if that makes any sense. So the witness that I've taken you to before is just a doorway to pure presence. And pure presence is beyond surrender. It's beyond a Holy Spirit. It's beyond a perception of yourself. It's beyond the witness. It's that nothingness of silence that's all encompassing. It's joyful because there's no suffering, but it's a quiet joy. If you ever hear it's blissful, it's not the whoopee-doo of I got that promotion or it all went my way. It's a like a kindness or a holding where nothing is an exception. You belong. Everyone belongs. It's not about earning. It's not about your skin color or your achievements. And by the way, if you refresh your separate self with a visit home to this place, you'll have even more energy for your success, for your efforts in the world, if it's business, if it's your family relationships, if that's your business, cleaning that up. Whatever you're focused on will be more energized by coming to this new home that I invite you to share with me. There's no you and there's no me in this place because there's no edges. Life began before us and will go on after us. And it's not a polarity. It just is the isness. So thank you for being with me today. We are the one. Bye for now.